The OpenChain project partner webinar series is designed to give you an insight into the type of commercial services available to help you do things like adopt ISO IEC 5230, find out more around issues like security and reference and training material, and in general just improve your approach to open source compliance and governance. With each webinar, we have one of our official partners highlight their services. This time around, it's SecTrend in China. Their presentation will play uninterrupted, and if you have any questions for them afterwards, you can come to the project website at openchainproject.org and ask us via our mailing lists, our calls, or any other communication media we use.
Hi everyone. My name is Feng Wang, and I'm a Director of Technical Marketing at Shanghai SecTrend Information Technology. Today, I'm going to give you an overview about our SCA product, Clean Source SCA. So, I will start with a very brief company introduction. As we are a very young company in this arena, I believe a lot of audience just never heard of us. Then I will talk about the background of why we need to do open source governance. Then it comes to our product pitch and how it will benefit enterprises. So, about SecTrend, about us. We are a very young startup with 70 plus people, and this number is increasing day by day. A great portion of my colleagues are from the top tech firms. So we have a very strong technical background. We specialize in building DevSecOps toolchain, and we are dedicated to providing world-class application security products portfolio. We are located in Shanghai. Our headquarters is in Shanghai, China, and we have branches in Beijing and Shenzhen. Currently, we provide products like SCA and SAST, and also professional services like the open source compliance consulting. Our goal is to become a leader in DevSecOps toolchain. We are very honored to be incorporated into the global organizations or communities like the Linux Foundation, OpenChain, and also OpenSSF. As far as local communities, we are a maintainer of the Open Euler, which is an open source project donated by Huawei to the Open Atom Foundation. Also, we joined the Open Analyst community. We are also working with our peers to draft some of the national standards in DevSecOps. We hope to get the most up-to-date industry information and the best practices from all sectors by making such contributions. Next, so why enterprises need to do open source governance, and what are the pain points? According to the survey, to organizations by Gartner, one critical challenge they are facing is related to the security of the open source project. The modern software development is like a mixed source development methodology. We write our own code to some percentage, as well as we use a lot of the open source code from all different sources. So this will leave us a problem that how can we make sure those codes from various sources are secure? So if we go back to last year, when the Log4j event happened, right? You can't really imagine that a component widely used in the world is maintained by only a few developers. So how can I trust such component? And when such security emergency happens, how can I respond to it as soon as possible? The other category is related to license. More and more companies understand that the software license is a form of commercial contract or agreement. So we need to comply to its terms when we use, change, and distribute. But how can I make sure I'm in compliance based on different scenarios? Another challenge is that under the US-China trade tension, more and more Chinese companies now turning their eyes to the export control compliance. because you need to use the SEA product to recognize the encryption algorithm used in your code. So, from our experience, we conclude some pain points from the enterprises during the open source governance. First of all, technology-wise, namely the SEA product the enterprise adopts. From the scanning speed, accuracy, to comprehensive needs of the knowledge base, right? The companies would want a product that contains the most up-to-date information with flexible deployment, which enables enterprise level and large-scale use. Imagine that an enterprise has thousands of iterations per day. They would need to initiate the scan in a very frequent manner with very fast speed. For the knowledge base, it would require the SEA product to contain the latest information when scrolling data from sources and push to customers. For the process, it would require the SEA product to have the capabilities to be incorporated into the current development process, and also let the enterprise create their own kind of customized database. Also, a complete open source governance system is much needed. Organization. These are more on the systematic level. Not only the enterprise need to have the awareness of open source governance, the importance of software copyright, but also the whole process need to be set up, which involves different teams like development, DevOps, testing, legal, so on and so forth. So all of these can be supervised by an open source program office, which is OSPO. Okay, now let me introduce our product, Clean Source SCA, to see how the product can help enterprise solve these problems. So here is an overview of the features of Clean Source. I will go over each of them in the later slides. First of all, detection capability. So this is not only the speed, accuracy, but also if the tool can support snippet scan. This is a must-have feature for a huge portion of our customers, especially large enterprises. Next comes to the knowledge base. The knowledge base needs to provide comprehensive information which include all different source codes, vulnerability information, from different sources, and also include all mainstream licenses, which is more than 2,000 types. Clean Source focuses on both security and compliance. So in addition to the product itself, we can help enterprise to build a better open source governance system with our professional consulting services. And DevOps integration enables enterprises to seamlessly integrate SEA scan into their existing development process, which is also a shift left action. So, as far as the scanning process, first, Clean Source has a hash generator to generate a reversible hash to the engine. Our algorithms enable the resulted hash to keep the most information while a small size. Next, the hash is sent to the scanning engine, whether it's on-prem deployment or a cloud-based service. Then the engine compares the hash versus information in the knowledge base. Finally, the results are displayed in the web UI with enriched information. For example, you can even get side-by-side code comparison between your code and open source code in the knowledge base. To support large-scale enterprise use, the scanning speed is very critical. The average scanning time of Clean Source is 20 microseconds. So for scanning a large product like the Linux kernel, it only takes minutes. Clean Source supports all types of scan in different granularity, from the code snippet to a file to the whole component. Also, if you build your project with the package manager like a Maven or Gradle, or it is a buildless environment, it is able to detect files like pom.xml or requirement.txt. So, clean source use all kind of scanning scenarios with a very fast scanning speed. The software development is never a one-fits-all kind of thing. It will have different scenarios regarding the use of open source code. Say if you copy a partial code from an open source project in GitHub and slightly modify it, say like a parameter change, right? This is still treated as an open source incorporation. Such scenario will need the SCA tool to have the code snippet scanning capability. For languages like C or C++, open source components are introduced in different ways. Like dynamic linking or static linking, right? Code snippet scanning and complete, dependency check are both needed to get a comprehensive result. Also, for those modified open source component, how to make sure the license is not altered. So SBOM is a basic for open source governance, while a SCA product can generate comprehensive and accurate result, which is the basic for a complete SBOM. Clean source has the capability to detect open source components in every scenario. Eventually, it will help enterprises generate a complete and accurate SBOM. Okay, here comes all the stats that clean source has as of today. We scroll data from 40 plus different repositories like GitHub, NPM, Stack Overflow, and translate those into 170 million components, around 2 trillion lines of open source code, and 50 billion file information. Clean source is not language dependent, so we can literally support all languages that you name it. We have different sources of vulnerability information, from the publicly available information to some third-party commercial vulnerability provider we work with, and also we have our own research team. Clean source supports 2,000 plus software licenses and is able to analyze conflicts between certain licenses. Okay, so flexible deployment. Clean source supports both SaaS-based deployment and on-prem. SaaS-based solution will have all the infrastructure in the cloud, so you only need to send the irreversible fingerprint to the cloud environment. For on-prem solution, you will have all the infrastructure hosted in your internal environment, so you don't have to worry about the code exposure to the public. And we will provide monthly update. Like I said, the integration capability will make the scanning process have minimal impact on the development process. For those code hosting platform, now we provide GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and SVN support. For CI/CD, we provide Jenkins in both CLI and plugin format. Also, for companies that need to incorporate the scan into their own infrastructure, Clean Source also provides CLI and RESTful API for further development. And we keep adding more integration support day by day. Because Docker is being widely used today, we recently added Docker image support to scan all the components in the Docker image. For extra large enterprises, say they have multiple organizations need to be isolated from each other, we provide solutions like user authentication level or isolation with distributed deployment. Okay, so how can Clean Source provide value to enterprises? First of all, vulnerability. Clean source can show you very detailed information about the vulnerability, like risk level or affected entity, and provide operable remediation plan. You will be able to see the clear path and very easy to locate to your code. It will help you respond to security events fast. The vulnerability information is almost updated in real time with the SBOM information. Clean source can monitor these security events continuously in the whole lifecycle. Next, compliance risk analysis. First of all, license risk identification. Because licenses have different terms under different distribution scenarios, Clean source has the capability to tell you if there are some risks under a certain distribution scenario. The easy to get SBOM helps quickly locate component with risk, as well as satisfying upstream customer needs or regulatory authority needs. License risk identification helps you to understand scenarios like if you can combine code under license A and relicense under license B, which will greatly reduce the workload of legal teams. Notice file extraction. This is especially for software distributed in a binary format. This will definitely help meet the open source compliance obligations. Tempered license detection. So there are cases that enterprises sued because of tempered license file, or the file header declaring license information got changed. So this is much needed to avoid such risk. To achieve export control compliance, recognizing standard encryption algorithm detection in open source software is much needed. Beyond security, more than open source. So we are aiming to deliver the best SA products to help companies of different sizes in identifying security and compliance risks. If you have any questions or interested in our product, please feel free to reach out to me. I've put my email in the lower portion of this screen. Thank you so much again.